The NFLPA report cards got leaked, and it's not a great look for the Falcons, but probably not in the way that you think.
You are Locked On Falcons, your daily Atlanta Falcons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Falcons podcast, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in the galaxy. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And if you don't know me, I'm your humble host, Aaron Freeman. Been covering the Atlanta Falcons for 2 decades, formerly at FalcFans.com, RIP. Still going strong here on Locked On Falcons, your daily Atlanta Falcons podcast. And on today's episode, Jarvis and I will be talking trash about a certain combine quarterback that may become a workout warrior. And we'll talk a little bit. I don't think it's trash, but, you know, the NFLPA report cards got leaked on Thursday, and it's not a great look for the Atlanta Falcons, but it's not necessarily because of the people that left the building, but it's more about the people that came into the building. But, you know, the NFL tried to block the NFLPA report cards from getting published publicly this year with a court injunction or whatever it was, but they got leaked on Thursday. ESPN had the breakdown, and looking at the Falcons grades, and obviously for those of you that are unfamiliar with how this works, basically the players on each team grade their teams in certain categories, like, you know, locker room and food and ownership and coaches and travel arrangements, all that sort of stuff. And, you know, usually we don't pay it any mind, but, you know, we talk about stuff now on the podcast. We're giving you 15 extra minutes of content here on the podcast. So now it's more worthy of 45 minutes of daily Falcons content as opposed to previously when it was 30 minutes. But, you know, notably with the Falcons grades, Zach Robinson graded very poorly, C- grade. That was bottom 5 among offensive coordinators. You got to imagine that stems from the Ike Hilliard fallout. For those of you that missed it, I think we talked about it on the podcast, but I certainly shared it with the insiders. But one of the things you hear down at the Senior Bowl, people talk, and, you know, sources tell me that, you know, part of the Ike Hilliard situation was because there was a rift, let's say, between Zach Robinson and Ike Hilliard, where Ike was maybe calling out Zach for some questionable things when it came to the game plans and the play calling and all that stuff. You know, ultimately Raheem had to sort of choose a side on that front, and he chose Zach's side and fired Ike Hilliard, and that caused a sort of domino effect in that locker room, particularly in that receiver room with Ray McLeod, Kadero Hodge potentially. You maybe can argue Darnell Mooney. The only player that seemed to be unaffected by it was Drake London, which is again why when I hear from Falcon fans, they're like, we shouldn't pay Drake London. I'm like, what does this man have to do? But that will be a conversation for the future. But so you got to imagine, you know, that had a lot to do with Zach Robinson's low grade, in addition to probably all the other issues that certainly Falcon fans and others have been complaining about for the last several months when it came to Zach Robinson's offense. Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot got high grades, B pluses. Marquise Williams got a high grade, B plus as well. Jeff Ulbrich got a great grade, in A, one of the top graded defensive coordinators. Arthur Blank, of course, getting very high grades among ownership with an A as well. But to me, what's more important is the people that the Falcons are bringing into the building did not necessarily grade well, particularly the people that were in Cleveland last year. Kevin Stefanski, a C-. Tommy Rees, as the offensive coordinator for the Browns, a D+. Stefanski was the lowest graded head coach among all 32 teams. Tommy Rees was the 3rd lowest graded offensive coordinator. You know, Zach Robinson was bottom 5. Tommy Rees was bottom 3. Craig Ackerman at least got a B. So, you know, Craig's doing all right. But, you know, Stefanski's been graded low going back and looking at these NFLPA grades these last couple of years. He's been amongst the lowest graded coaches, and it's been diminishing returns these last 3 years. And obviously it bottomed out this year. And of course, like normally I would be like, it doesn't really matter that much. And, you know, I know for a lot of folks, it's like, you know, especially during this coaching cycle, there was this sort of sentiment I heard from various people of like, we want a serious, hard-nosed, you know, non-players coach, right? Because you want the contrast of Raheem Morris, who's, you know, happy and, smiling and joking and jovial and all this stuff, and it seems less serious. And I get that sentiment. I don't think that really matters, but like ultimately, I know there's probably a sentiment at least of like, if you get a player's coach, your teams lack discipline. And if you get a hard-nosed coach, your teams are very disciplined. But if you're just measuring discipline by how often you're penalized, that didn't really hold up, right? Raheem Morris's Falcons teams over the last 2 years were the ninth lowest penalized team in the NFL, while the Browns over that span were like the 10th most penalized team. Right, Arthur Smith's Falcons team were even penalized less, obviously him being much less of a player's coach. The third least penalized team across those 3 years, the Browns during that span, were 30th. Dan Quinn, another player's coach, the ninth fewest penalties across his 5 seasons in Atlanta, or 6 seasons in Atlanta. And overall, when you look at Kevin Stefanski's 6 seasons in Cleveland, the Browns were the 4th most penalized team in the NFL across that year. And so, if we're sort of saying, oh, players, coaches, the sort of stereotype of players, coaches are soft on their players and teams don't play hard and don't play discipline, that doesn't really hold up, at least as far as penalties go. So worth noting there. But, I normally don't put a lot of stock in the NFLPA report cards, but when we hired Kevin Stefanski, it was kind of like, okay, this is going to be a polarizing hire. There's going to be people that love this hire. There's going to be people that hate that hire. We talked a lot about like the Shedeur Sanders stuff and how that was influencing a lot of the negativity. To me, this is unrelated to Shedeur Sanders, just because like he was not getting good grades well before Shedeur Sanders was on the football team. But a lot of that has to do with, winning football games. And if you're not winning football games, although he did get a low grade after they made the playoffs in 2023, but ultimately that's what Kevin Stefanski is going to be judged on. But it's just, as we go through this process and the more you hear, the vibes just weren't great there at the end of Cleveland. And you're just hoping that Kevin Stefanski and company get a fresh start here in Atlanta and the vibes can start off strong. And obviously the more they win, the better the vibes will be, but we'll just sort of see how that all goes. So those are my thoughts on the NFLPA report cards. Hopefully, we'll be hearing and seeing higher grades when they inevitably leak next year, because they will. And the owners are going to freak out about it. Arthur Blank's doing fine, but Jimmy Haslam's probably like, how dare they? But that will be our conversation about the NFLPA report cards. We will lighten the mood with Jarvis Davis and myself talking trash about Arkansas quarterback Taylon Green. I cut this out of the previous episode I did with Jarvis just because it was running too long. And it's just, we're going to jump into the conversation where Jarvis was talking about workout warriors. And then that's just going to lead to usual Jarvis and I shenanigans, just talking trash on an NFL prospect. So, still negative, but not negative towards the Falcons, at least at this point in time. So we'll do that to wrap up today's Locked On Falcons. Now, if you ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person, now you can, because FanDuel's going to give you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll be automatically entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right, flights, tickets, the whole experience. And if you're looking at the board and thinking about which team you think can make that conference title or championship series run, now is the perfect time to lock your pick in. It's going to add an extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can your pick win you some cash, it can also send you to the NBA Finals. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on any NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And of course, it's Combine Week, so we know it's draft season, but we're not talking about NFL draft prospects. We're talking about the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft, breaking down those tasty flavors, which are the best, who are the sleepers. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and only one is going to take that top spot. The 5-Hour Energy has a wide variety of flavors, something for everyone. I used to go into the gas station on the mornings before my day job and grab a 5-Hour Energy, and it was just berry and grape flavors. And those are classic flavors, but 5-Hour Energy has leveled up in the years since with 17 flavors. My new favorite is peach mango. It's going to take my top spot because it has that sweet, tropical flavor that is going to take me away. And I definitely want to try the confetti craze flavor, the sweet birthday cake inspired flavor with the buttery, freshly baked confetti cake flavor, sweet vanilla frosting, and that sprinkle of sweetness in every sip. Who's number one on your board? Find your new flavor and a 5-hour energy shots by going to 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today.
You know, and that's the thing that's kind of cool about this time of year too, because like, okay, it happens every year. Somebody goes at the combine and look what Taylor Green, what's the quarterback we were talking about down there?
Taylor Green, yeah.
Taylor Green, you know, he's gonna go up there. Oh, he's throwing the football so well. He's just so fluid. He's such an athlete. If he gets in the right system, he's gonna be one of those guys. I was like, sir, did you watch any tape on this man? Did you see him down in Mobile when he had opportunity to show the same doggone thing with pads on? You know, so like I'll be interested to see if we see a guy like that, if a guy like Taylor Green can, you know, go up there and perform well, because we know people ignore the tape sometimes. They ignore their gut feeling about players because they're in the moment and they're saying, oh wow, he ran a 4 what? He runs a 4.6. Oh, like, oh, yeah, of course he's athletic. Yeah, he looks like he can run. So, you know, but yeah, this is a time of year where I get excited about, because, you know, people change opinions and all this stuff, and I just can't wait to see it.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna give the Taylor Green truthers a little bit of a bone. People are desperately looking for anybody at quarterback in this draft class to attach themselves to.
Oh, yes.
And Taylor Green is, for some people, they see the big arm, they see probably 4.5, whatever speed he's got, the size or whatever, and they're like, yes, that's the guy. And I'm like, 6'6", runs a 4.5, make that man a tight end. But you know, that's just me. Give
Stefanski loves tight ends.
You know, I'm sitting here like, hey, you tried for 2 years as a quarterback. I get it. Bro. You're gonna do it. You know, Felipe Franks went down this road. You know, you try for 2 years, and then you're like, you know what, Felipe, can you go down the hall to the tight end room? We need some space in here. Like, you know, it's a little tight in here. So you just.
Well, you know, Taylor Green, daddy, when it comes to Taylor Green, daddies know best. No.
Yes.
Daddy knows.
No one knows that reference, Jarvis.
Okay.
that's a Senior Bowl thing. You know, no one knows what we're talking about. But
maybe you can let the insiders know. You know,
you hear things for those of you watching and listening. You hear things down in Mobile. That's the benefit. In addition to watching guys practice, you get to hear some things, and you're like, huh, okay. And apparently, for those of you that don't know, without getting into the details, Taylor Green's father allegedly has very much, you know, how do I say this? Has a strong, is very opinionated about his ability to play quarterback at the next level, and has a very low opinion of anybody like yours truly, and maybe Jarvis Davis, that suggests that maybe quarterback is not in his future. So that is basically where that reference comes from. But
yeah, Daddy knows best.
Yeah, he does. So. All right. And it's gonna be funny, Jarvis, if the Falcons wind up drafting Taylor Green.
Oh my gosh, bro! That would be great content, by the way.
It really would. I cannot
make that happen, Ian. Come on.
I cannot wait for that DM to come from, you know, Daddy Green or whatever, and be like, I heard what you said on the podcast.
Hey, look, I'm gonna make sure you get a credential so you can come down here, you know, you can crash down in my spot, you know what I'm saying? And we go up the Flowery Branch. We doggone going for rookie mini camps, bro. We're gonna be right there. And they were like, "Oh yeah, Taylor Green will be available today." I'm like, "Hey, Aaron, going over there and going over there, ask some questions, bro. You know what I'm saying? Go get some footage, man, so we can put on the YouTube channel. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah. Looking forward to that, guys. So, you know, if you're looking for that great May and June and July content, you better hope that Taylor Green winds up being an Atlanta Falcon. So that's going to do it for us here, guys, on today's Locked On Falcons. Appreciate you for tuning in for another one. We'll be back with more combine coverage, talking DBs and tight ends that are working out on Friday. So we get to talk about Oscar Delp and crazy cornerback arm length. Love to talk about it. So that's going to be in store for you on your next episodes. Who are the standouts? Who are the guys checking my boxes? Get me all hot and bothered. All that stuff and more. Making it weird here at the end of the episode. So continue to make Locked On Falcons your first listen by checking us out on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out Locked On NFL, Locked On NFL Draft, Locked On NFL Scouting for more combine coverage all week long, all weekend long. Go check it out. And of course, check out the Everydayer Club. There is no off season for the Everydayer. Check out an ad-free version of Locked On Falcons, members only Discord access, as well as so much more at the link in the description below at lockedonfalcons.supercast.com. Go check it out. It's all part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.